Good morning and welcome to the Franchise Minute. This is Anna Wiles, the franchise economist. Thank you for being here. Today, I want to tell you that our topic is going to be how a fast-growing franchise can open all their locations in a timely manner. To help us understand that is Storm Miller with the Repham Group. Storm, thank you for being here and being our special guest.
As always, Anna, it's a pleasure to see you, and thank you for having me on the show. Every time we get together, we always have a great time.
Absolutely, we do. So, Storm, start us off and tell the audience how you came, a little bit about your background and how you came to work with the Repham Group.
Sure. So I have been in franchising in various capacities now for a little over 10 years. Started my career in franchising on the financing side of the industry, and I'll plug them here, but I used to work for a company called Benetrends Financial. They are the architects of the 401k rollover program, which is commonly known as the ROBS program. They also broker SBA loans, and they're familiar with a couple of different funding strategies. And while I was there, had an opportunity to work with consultants as yourself. Also had an opportunity to work with other organizations that are now known in the industry as FSOs, or franchise sales organizations. We saw the growth of FSOs while I was still in financing. And an opportunity kind of came into my lap to go work with the Repham Group as they were just beginning to build out the franchise sales side of the business. I had an opportunity to partner with some people I really admired in the franchise industry, in Rob Cambruzzi and Nick Sheehan and Jason Ryan. Seemed like a mutual fit. So made that leap over to the other side of the fence. And I have been in franchise development with the Repham Group ever since.
Well, I'm going to put a plug in for Benetrends. It is a very valued funding resource for me and all my franchise candidates. It's really a stellar franchise funding company. So thank you for explaining that. And I want to go ahead and invite the audience to drop questions into their chat box or comment section and ask Storm here, take advantage of his expertise and long time in franchising. Hit him with some hard questions and he'll be glad to address them. All right, Storm. So now time for the big reveal. I teased the audience and said that we were going to talk about a franchise that is shaking up the franchise industry. So go ahead and tell us what the brand is and what it does.
Sure. So I am the franchise development director right now for a concept called the Milkshake Factory.
The Milkshake Factory.
The Milkshake Factory. And this is a brand that's based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They opened 11 corporate locations before making the decision to actually franchise this concept. And not many brands get to double-digit locations before making that decision, but these guys did. And it is a brand that is taking the franchise industry by storm, no pun intended.
I love that.
And we've all seen the emergence of dessert brands in franchising. You saw it with Cookie Wars with brands like Crumble Cookies, Insomnia, even Dirty Dough. I think what we're starting to see now out of the desserts category is that there's been a little bit more focus on the ice cream product. And that's what we specialize in. And really, the business is two businesses in one. Our primary product is, without a doubt, our milkshakes. But the family chocolate business dates all the way back to 1914. So it is indeed a milkshake business that is steeped in a super rich chocolate history.
Who doesn't like milkshakes and who doesn't like chocolate? I don't think I've ever met anyone that didn't love both. And what an amazing, it's got over 100-year family history backing it up. So this is no fly-by-night, bad trend type thing.
Not at all.
Not at all. All right. So that's sort of leading me to our next question. In every episode, Storm, what we do is crush some preconceived notions that people have about the brand we're talking about. So what are some things that you commonly encounter with Milkshake Factory that, just isn't the case?
Yeah, I think there are two preconceived notions, not just about our brand, but frankly about the food and beverage industry that don't necessarily apply to the Milkshake Factory. The first has to do with labor. and that it's extremely difficult to find and retain quality labor. I think that can be the case for brands that rely on difficult labor to create their product. And I would say that over 10 years ago, that might have been us. 10 years ago, we were still scooping ice cream in our stores. Ice cream freezes at negative 20 degrees. So hand scooping ice cream is pretty difficult. And we would go through 30, 40, 50 tubs of ice cream a day in our stores over a decade ago. But since then, we've really simplified the operation, and we now leverage technology to create our own vanilla base in store every single day. And that vanilla base is used for all 14 of our milkshakes on the menu. So we're leveraging technology to replicate a high quality product. And because the labor is not as difficult anymore, it's been a lot easier for us to retain quality labor. That, and it's a fun environment to work in.
Yeah.
To work with ice cream and chocolate all day long. So I think that's notion number one that we can put to bed. And I think the second is that it's tough to make money in food and beverage. And again, I think that can be the case for businesses and brands that try to be everything to everyone. But that is not a part of our brand identity. We are almost unapologetic about the fact that we are very narrowly focused on two very high margin products. And for us, those products happen to be ice cream and chocolate. That is what has created our success out in Pittsburgh. It's what's created our cult following. And if you are looking for the best milkshake, or if you are looking for the best piece of chocolate, you'll find that at the Milkshake Factory.
Wow, that's amazing. And just a couple of comments I have is when we think of like the labor force and the pool of labor, and someone is going to work at a place where they get splattered by hot grease all day, or burns, putting things in and out of ovens to heat them and reheat them, or that sort of thing. Certainly not the case here.
Nope.
And it's a happy business. I mean, people who come for chocolate and milk, that's a happy business, right?
It is. It is. And in our kitchens, you won't find any of the things that you find in traditional restaurants. There are no ovens. There are no ranges. There are no flat tops. There are no hoods. There are no deep fryers.
Yeah.
It's a super streamlined operation. Our kitchens hardly qualify as kitchens.
Right. Well, so one of the challenges of a rapidly growing brand like Milkshake Factory is getting stores open in a timely manner. I mean, I've seen not just new emerging franchises struggle with rapid growth, but even established brands. I mean, that can be a real challenge if you're not prepared for it. So how is Milkshake Factory able to keep up and get their franchisees operational in a timely manner?
Well, I think that's the relationship or where the relationship with the Repum Group really comes into play. So a lot of people look at Repum Group, and we do represent 12 different franchise brands in their domestic development efforts. And they assume that our name is just a play on words.
Right.
Rep franchise.
I thought that.
Of course, we call ourselves the Repum Group. But what REPM actually stands for is real estate project management. And that is what our business started as. We were primarily focused on helping franchisees of different systems actually find sites for their brick and mortar locations, getting them built out, and making sure that they were opening the doors of their business. So within our organization, there is an entire division of real estate project managers that work with franchisees from the time they sign their franchise agreement to the time they receive their certificates of occupancy, and making sure that they're opening on time and within the budget set forth by the item 7 in the FDD of those respective brands.
On time and within budget.
Yep. A lot can go awry in the construction process. And I think because of our experience in actually getting the doors open on businesses, we can help franchisees, especially of emerging franchise systems, avoid a lot of the pitfalls that we had seen in getting the doors of their businesses open.
Well, Storm, explain the 4 pillars of the Repum Group.
Yeah. So I think that is what makes this organization so special. And it was part of the reason that I left my old company to come work with these guys. It's because they were doing things a little bit differently than what I had seen in the industry. So within our company, there are 4 divisions, and we call those divisions brand them, grow them, build them, and scale them. Right? We are a true full service franchise development organization, and we just happen to have an FSO within our 4 pillars. But our Brandem division is the branding and marketing focus side of our business. They help brands create a consistent go-to-market message, help them identify what types of candidates make the best fit for them, and they actually take those brands to market. There's the Grow 'em division, which is the division that I work in, and that is the FSO within the Rep 'em group. But basically, we help identify the right kinds of candidates for emerging franchisors. We take those candidates through our own discovery process and award franchise licenses to the right candidates in the right markets. And once a franchisee signs, they end up working with the Build 'em division, which is the real estate project management arm of the organization. They help them find their sites, put together LOIs and work letters, finalize their leases. We do test bits on their sites, help create construction budgets, and then we go and find them reputable general contractors that will actually build out their locations. And then the true secret sauce to our organization is our Scale 'em division. And that is the franchise operations focused division of the Rep 'em group. And what they do is they work with emerging franchisors to make sure that they have the people in place and the infrastructure in place to support the growth that we facilitate on the front end. And I think that's where sometimes emerging brands can fall short because they don't know what they don't know. So having more expertise in our back pocket tends to be super important for emerging franchise brands.
Well, what I've experienced in my 20 years in franchising is it takes, on average, 6 to 9 months for site location, lease negotiation for a piece of real estate. What kind of expectation should a prospective franchisee of a Rep 'em brand expect from signing to opening?
Yeah, so I think the brands that do it best kind of fall into that timeline. What we tend to tell most of our candidates is that you can expect somewhere between a 7 and 10 month process if all goes according to plan. And what we've done is we've actually taken a look at all 12 of the concepts in our portfolio, 9 of which are brick and mortar in nature. And we've actually started to measure the amount of time it has taken from the signing of their franchise agreement to the time that those franchisees open their doors. And for us, the average time from signing to open is just over 9 months. And that is actually what we're starting to see with franchisees within the Milkshake Factory system. We did not have our first discovery date until July of last year. And we began signing our first franchise partners in August. And now we have 3 franchisees that are preparing to open the doors of their locations here in Q2, which is right around the corner. So late April, early May, we should start to see some franchisees open, which puts them on roughly an 8 to 9 month timeline to get the doors open on their business.
Wow, that is stellar. That is beyond the industry norm. I want the audience to know that, and I want to underscore it. So we've got time for one quick question, Storm. What do you think makes Milkshake Factory so very special?
It's a great question. And I think I have an even better answer. I will tell you right now, what makes this brand special is our leadership team. The story behind the brand, the super rich history, and the leadership team. Between Dana, our brand president, Dan Reese, and then our VP of operations, Sean Smith, this is my favorite leadership team that I have ever had the opportunity to work with in franchising. They're super special. Dana is our CEO and founder. She's a 4th generation chocolatier. She literally grew up working on the chocolate factory floor. This is what she knows. It's what she was brought up in. But she's also held some very serious positions. She actually used to manage the advance office of the White House for the President of the United States, right?
Wow.
In the family business.
She's no fun.
No, she is wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful. She believes in hospitality. She believes in the product. Our brand president, Dan Reese, used to work at major organizations such as Kraft Heinz. He actually led the integration team when the 2 corporations merged with one another, was the youngest equity partner in Kraft Heinz history, and then found himself working with Dana in the family chocolate business. Sean Smith is another individual, over 25 years of franchise operations experience, all with food and beverage brands. I am telling you right now, we tout one of the strongest leadership teams that's ever been assembled in franchising. They believe in the business, they believe in the product, and they believe in hospitality. That culture starts at the top and it trickles down through the entire organization and the entire franchise system. And the other thing that makes us special is the product. I tell Dan and Dana all the time that they've kind of ruined milkshakes for me because I live in Philadelphia and our only open locations right now are in Pittsburgh. And their product is so good that it makes other milkshakes pale in comparison.
I can understand that.
I find myself disappointed. But I think what makes the product so special is that the formulations and the recipes that we use in our milkshakes, these are recipes that have been passed down over 4 generations of Edwards family chocolatiers. They've been refined and they're proprietary. So you're not going to find our exact milkshake anywhere else in the country because we're the ones that know what actually goes into those recipes, what goes into our own house-made ice cream. That's what really makes this brand so special.
Well, I tell you what, Storm, we are out of time. If someone wants to learn more about the Milkshake Factory, what do you recommend they do?
First things first, I would say contact you. I've been in franchising for a little over 10 years. I know that you've been in franchising for over 20. So I love your process. I love the opportunity to work with your candidates. And what you'll do is you'll make sure that the market that they're interested in it is indeed available and that the skill set that a candidate brings to the table would be a right fit for the Milkshake Factory. And even if the Milkshake Factory is not the right fit for somebody, there might be something in the Repum inventory that could be a better fit. So I would say absolutely reach out to you. We value the work that you do with our candidates to prep them for our discovery process, and then making sure that it's the right mutual fit so that not only does somebody move forward with the franchise acquisition, that they're actually successful in the long run. I think that's really important.
Well, thank you so much, Storm. And thank you for being here. Audience, this is Storm Miller with the Repum Group, specifically with the Milkshake Factory. Thank you so much for being here. Great.
Always a pleasure.
And audience, come back next week. We're going to have another Repum brand, and it adds value to your home. So you're not going to want to miss it. Come back next Wednesday at 11:30. I'm Anna Wiles, the franchise economist. See you next week.